Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the bluest 2-pack of action figures ever. This is the Marvel Legends, not Marvel vs. Capcom, but technically is kinda sorta Marvel vs. Capcom Gamerverse Captain America vs. Venom. And when I did my first video about this stuff when they first announced it, I said maybe this 2-pack is gonna be the least desirable one, and a lot of people said, yeah, people want blue Venom, I think you're wrong, and I think all those people were right, and I realized that at the time I shouldn't have said that, because yes, blue Venom is a big deal. So I was wrong. I recant, I take back what I said about blue Venom being undesirable, and I have to not take back what I said about Captain America. Kind of. I have to be honest though, this is like maybe, well, it is the best 2-pack I've opened from this set so far. I'm very pleased with this. Is this all of them? Are we done now? Other than the single packs? I don't know, I can't keep track. But yeah, there's a lot to like about this set. I'm not gonna say it's as good as the Wolverine figure, but as a 2-pack, oh, it blows that one out of the water, because Silver Samurai was a giant gray turd. But this has some really nice stuff going on. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before I show you the figures, I do want to show you my package. As I have said before, this packaging is very nice. Looks good. Figures very obvious in the window. Accessories looks nice. Side is great with the pixel art. The figure, again, over here. The pixel art is dangerously close to what it is in the game, and I'm sure it's not officially, or I guess I'm not sure, but I would assume so since it's not licensed as Marvel vs. Capcom. But it's cool because you can stack the boxes up and show all the good guys facing this way, and then all the bad guys facing this way. The problem is most of them are 2-packs, so you have to double dip to do that if you're saving the boxes. But I like the idea on the back of the box. I said this, I think, last time. And also, I don't know if they had these on the last one either, but this is cool. I like the setup, other than the fact that it's like the poses aren't the best on the back, but it's still pretty good. So yeah, I like the packaging as much as I don't care about it. It's still pretty cool for those of you who do. This is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store if you want to get one, and I would recommend you get one. I'll say that right off the bat. Okay, I'm going to recommend it. But let's go ahead and do our height measurements first, as always. By the way, if you want to get one at Big Bad Toy Store, use my link. I'd appreciate it. It helps me out. That's 7 1/4 inches for Venom. Let's do metric. That's going to be about 18.5 centimeters. Some people ask why I do metric. Well, it's because my videos are viewed in places where people do metric. And also, as a 3D modeler, I use metric a lot. Millimeters, baby. That's what you need. Alright, it's very annoying to use 8ths and 16ths and 32nds and 64ths. Alright, so we have about 16 and, I don't know, 16 centimeters, 7 millimeters, 16.7. And that's going to be about, let's call it 6 5/8, give or take. He's got some size to him. Here's Darwin. He's a little bit taller there. And here's Darwin again. He's a lot taller. Alright, so what's interesting about this 2-pack is that neither of these figures are completely new. Both of them do feature new stuff. And as a result, I'm going to say right off the bat, these are the best versions of these characters to date. That is not to say there's nothing wrong with them, and I will go over all of it, but I am very confident in saying, at least sculpt-wise, because obviously some people might not want Blueberry Venom. That's a very specific look for him. So in that sense, it's not the best Venom in every way, because Venom is traditionally black. So I get that. But as far as the sculpts go, these two are the ones to get for these characters. If you're going to repaint a Venom, if you're going to make a custom Venom using a Venom, this is the Venom to get. Same thing for Cap. These are the two, and he's fine, like color-wise, he matches the Cap fine. Like, he's not as different as Blue Venom. It's wonderful to see. It's not perfect. Let's start with talking about Venom. We're doing the aesthetic portion. Well, first, let's do a question of the day. Would you be okay mixing Blue Venom in with your comic stuff, or do you need Black Venom to go against Spider-Man? Let me know. I'm sure they will reuse this body to make a Black Venom. That being said, this is very similar to, and I thought it was the same, and then I was corrected about that too in that video, so thanks for the corrections. This is not just that one anniversary Venom that I've never reviewed because I couldn't find one. By the way, if anybody wants to sell me one, let me know. It's not the same. They have new parts on it, which makes it better, I believe, for a classic standard-looking Venom other than being blue. So let's talk about that. He's got the old legs, unfortunately. It's still a great sculpt for legs. They need to just update these a little bit, and it's awesome. Or just stop using soft joints. I don't care about the pinholes, but the joints are soft. But yeah, the legs are sculpted wonderfully. That's a very comic-y looking leg. Gorgeous. Same thing with the feet. It looks like a comic. The torso, I think this part is old. But this part, and maybe this part's old too, but these are new. Either way, there's new parts here, but it's a really, really nice combination. And if you look at it dead on, it looks so much better than the Omega Red body, which makes me think, yeah, this has to be new. If you look at it dead on, it looks like, other than his head being a little bit big, and he still has some of those Marvel Legends-y features, it looks really, really good. You can see the narrower waist. You can see the thickness pop out at the ribs, or at the lats is what it would really be. And it has, the shoulders aren't super low compared to the pecs. It's nice. His arms are a little gangly, maybe. Like, there's still some issues here, and there's not like a perfect anatomy study for comic book drawing, but it's pretty darn good. And other than his head being slightly big, that's a pretty darn good looking silhouette for Venom. And since we're doing the aesthetic, I'll just go on to say there's no paint on this damn figure other than the horrible paint job for the logo there. And I say horrible, not in the line work, that's clean, but hopefully it shows up on camera. It's only opaque where it has pooled in the middle, down the crevice there, and on this part of the legs. These legs, the parts that wrap around, are so much thinner, and you can see the tampo separation there, and it doesn't look good. Same thing down here, you can see it's pooled up in the middle, and that looks opaque and white, but otherwise you can see a lot of blue poking through. If you're not up close, you probably won't notice, because the lines are clean, so I will definitely give him that. That's nice. Same thing here, it's not very opaque, and same thing on the back again. The logo wraps around this time, so that's nice. Yeah, this is a nice looking Venom. I like the head sculpt. The tongue and everything is good. I do wish we had one where his mouth wasn't open. That would be good. But yeah, this looks nice. It's pretty darn well done. And again, it is the best body that I have seen for a not monster Venom. So it's good. And the color matches. Like, so here's the thing about even Cap 2. The colors in the game are like, every blue is like 3 blues. Like Venom, I think he's 3, maybe 2, if you don't count black or whatever. For shading, he matches the darker part. Other than them adding more paint, this is fine. So I have no problem with that. Now let's move on to Cap. Same thing for his blue. I don't know why they made the comment in their live stream about the blue on Cap, because it's the same thing. He does match the sprites. He matches one of the shades on the sprite. The problem is he doesn't have paint to make it look right, but he does look nice. So this is all old as far as I can tell. Maybe even the abdomen, I don't know for sure. But, and maybe parts of the arms. Either way, there's some new stuff, specifically the chest. That's the important part. These legs don't have the meat to them, and I don't need them to be big like Venom. People always misunderstand what I'm talking about. I don't need them to have as big of legs as Venom, but they need to have this shape. They need to have the quads stick out, pinch in at the knees, then the calves stick out, pinch in at the ankles. The legs need to have the right amount of meat on them. This is a very tubular, he looks like a long distance runner almost, rather than somebody shaped like Captain America. He doesn't have enough meat. And that would go a long way. So using the old legs sucks. I hate that. But they used this new body, and I said in my video that it looks good. I like the idea of the butterfly joint. They're going to have to screw up the chest sculpt in order to make it work, which they did. But it's, I mean, you're going to have to make that sacrifice. So if you want this butterfly joint that allows him to go all the way back like that, you're not going to have the chest sculpt. It's just impossible. Which allows him to do this too, which is kind of nice. So yeah, as far as functionality, that's great. And as far as making it not too ugly, I think they did as good as we can expect from Hasbro. It's not, you're not going to not have that extra lump in there. You see how it just has that dip there? Because normally that would just be a smooth transition, because it's all one muscle. So yeah, you end up with the 2 different muscle heads, even though there shouldn't be, and it screws up the sculpt, but I think they did a good job of it not being super noticeable, because it's all just one color, of course, even though there's slightly different colors between the hard and softer plastic. But it's decent enough. And the shoulders looked really tiny in their original photos, and I didn't go back to see if they changed them or if it just looked weird, but the shoulders are not too tiny. They're fine for Marvel Legends standards. I think the shoulders could be a little bit different adjustment, because they still are really far away from the head because of the way they do their traps, and the shoulders are down there, but it's not bad. It's nowhere near as bad looking as the promo photos. So I'm very happy with that. But the people who want the range, you get all the range in the world out of that butterfly. The people who don't want the range, it doesn't look terrible. I think it's a fine balance. And it does give him a much broader upper torso. He's got much more of that V shape that we want. So that looks good. The star shape is because of the game. I don't know if anybody's upset about that if they don't know about the game, so that's fine. That's going to be a problem probably for people who don't want the game version. I think this is an old head. I think it works well enough for the sprite. Doesn't match the artwork, but I don't care about that. because it doesn't match the artwork. So yeah, I think this looks really, really good. It's not perfect. The blue that's painted here isn't the exact same shade as this, and this isn't the exact same shade as this. To the naked eye, it's nowhere near as egregious, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. Yeah, this is painted nicely, no shading anywhere still. They're not perfect figures, but they look really, really good. And this is all it would take for Marvel Legends to, I think, lose like all of the people that are complaining about Marvel Legends. They'd just be like, oh yeah, they're not high-end figures, but they're definitely good enough, because that's what this is. These are not super impressive figures, other than by Hasbro's standard releases. These are super impressive. They're very nicely done. So aesthetically, I'm going to say these are easily 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 for Hasbro, for sure, for Marvel Legends. Easily the best 2-pack overall. I think the Omega Red War Machine 2-pack was also pretty solid. I think I said that back then, but very, very nice. And just before we move on, I would argue these are the 3 figures to get from this Marvel vs. Capcom wave so far. I haven't done Juggernaut yet because he hasn't come in, but you can't see him. All right, there you go. These are the 3. There you go. I think these guys... Well, War Machine had a fair amount of new stuff. You could throw him on this list too, but these are more classic characters, I suppose. That's the way to do it. This guy had that whole new butterfly system. People were complaining that he doesn't have enough butterfly. Like, sure, but he has a better sculpt. So, like, you can be upset about it, but it's a reasonable thing. Alright, anyway, on to the accessories. This is not the best spread, but for Cap, we get his shield, which is not the best shield. It is kind of pinkish looking, and it still has that garbage wrist clip, but whatever. You get the shield, you get the 2 fist hands and 2 thumbs up hands. Not the best spread. I don't think we need 2 thumbs up hands, but you do get the shield bash effect, which I don't know what it's actually called from the game. I never played Cap, really. I mean, I played everybody to unlock things, but that looks really nice. Surprisingly good. They put more thought into these MvC figures than they do their normal releases. Or they just got really dumb lucky. Maybe. Now, it's not perfect. You can see the paintwork on it does cover over onto the white, which looks great. Down here, they didn't do that, so it's kind of a bummer. But still, it's a pretty cool effect. It's nowhere near as big as it needs to be, but it's still a nice effect. And then you do get his alternate head, which... I wouldn't mind seeing them go a new direction for the Captain America heads. At least some of them, they look too... It looks kind of like... I don't know, what's the bad guy's name from Popeye? Like, he's got the villainy features, like the broader nose, the broader mouth. Like, he doesn't look as, like, classically handsome, I guess is the way to describe it. He looks brutish, I guess. There you go. There's just something about that, but it's still a pretty good head. Alright, and then for Venom, we have the 2 fist hands, we have the 2 claw hands. I still think the 1 claw hand sucks, and it's not game accurate for his pose, but whatever, it's fine. Then you get the alternate head, which is really nicely done. I'm never going to use it, but if you want that, you have it, and it looks pretty good. It's pretty well done, so there you go. But that's it. No effect parts for Venom, no closed mouth for Venom. It would have been so cool if they gave us a full Eddie Brock head, so that they could do the one, like, taunt or intro thing or whatever it was, where he has, like, the top half of him is not there and the thing comes over. Something like that. Like, they could have really gone all out, and they really went all in on... That's still... In terms of poker terms, it still works. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. They could have done better. Accessory-wise, 7 out of 10. It's just not enough, but still pretty good. All right, let's do Venom first for articulation. Most of you guys are going to know what this guy can do, but still. All right, he can look up. He's got the hinge in the neck. He can look down. That's all standard. And then the ball peg lets him rotate. There's a little wiggle, but it's not in the right place, so it's not super useful. Butterfly on this guy still works pretty well. I will say the thing they still need to work on is getting the shoulders farther back. The shoulders on characters like Venom, and it's not like every human is like this, but basically every comic book character, the shoulders are farther back, and they have backs on them. These guys are too skinny, and so the shoulders have to come way far forward, and it looks like they're hunched forward. No, the shoulders should be back here in the neutral position, and they should have enough meat back there to support that. Anyway, Butterfly works. Shoulder joint works, no problem. You're going to get your full rotation. Bicep swivel is fine. Double jointed elbow on this guy works nicely. Wrist have a swivel and a hinge. They're just fist hands. Who cares? Alright, diaphragm joint on this guy, really not great. It's there, but it doesn't do a whole lot. Leans forward a little bit. Side to side, it works okay. Rotation is okay. Ab crunch on this guy. Reverse ab crunch. Why that's there, I still don't know. It barely even works on this one. It goes back a little bit, goes forward a little bit. he can get kind of close to the poses, but like, so I'm seeing on Instagram all these people, which is reasonable, because I don't follow any action figure people other than some people who pose their toys, but they still pop up on my feed. Anyway, I'm seeing people taking all the MvC Marvel figures and putting them in the game poses, which is what they're for, so it makes sense. I'm not saying they shouldn't be doing that. I'm saying it's obvious when you do that Hasbro sculpts need to change more, because they can't look right because of the things like the shoulders are too far forward or too small. There's not enough mass in the chest and back, things like that. You're never going to match those sprites because the figures don't have the body mass. But his torso blows. So, I mean, even for those two joints, it doesn't work well. For the hips, he can kick up pretty high. That's nice. They go back just a touch, going out to the side, still really garbagey. Thigh swivel is really stuck on that. That's a little scary, but there you go. It should be fine. Double jointed knee. Not bad, it's fine, no problems there. And then for the ankle, it goes all the way back, all the way forward, and you get a good ankle rocker. So yeah, no real problems there. This guy is not a bad release, but nothing impressive in terms of articulation, so he'll get a 7 for articulation. We're going to do them separately because everything else is fair to do the same because the accessories are still limited and it's a 2-pack or whatever, but I want you guys to know their articulation ratings individually. Okay, so this guy, unfortunately, even though they did new stuff, they still didn't do a double ball peg in the neck, which is unfortunate. So he can do that, he can look up, he can look down, but you can't really do some of the more iconic type pose, not iconic, but like a good hero pose where he's looking down and off to the side. You don't want him, his chin tucked in always so much and things like that. So yeah, it's good enough, but it could be better. I already showed you his butterfly is really, really good. Like lots of range there. The shoulder joint up to horizontal. When you do that, it really demonstrates how low the shoulders are compared to what they should be. So that's unfortunate. That's not a good look. Full rotation there, bicep swivel is fine. He's still very bubbly because of the way they do their shoulders. You really don't need that dip right here. Shouldn't really even be there. So whatever, it's still a Marvel Legends figure. Alright, the elbow joint, the glove gets in the way and they didn't really do anything to account for it, so he has very limited range. That's using the bottom joint first. If you use the top joint first, still, and if you use them both at the same time and really try to tuck it in, yeah, you're still barely clearing 90 degrees. Like, you can just do just past it. Unfortunate that they didn't account for that. Like, just make this flatter. Just make it flatter. It doesn't have to be perfect all the way around. The glove isn't the important part, the pose is. Nobody's going to be like, oh, you know what? From the side, the glove doesn't stick out as far as it should. Like, that's such a tiny, insignificant detail compared to bending the elbow. Wrists have decent range. Ab crunch on this guy is still an ab crunch, and it still doesn't work well. Like, it's hidden because of the Captain America design, but his ab crunch is garbage. And you know what else this design would hide nicely? And make the figure look even better? A torso joint that works, a ball peg, or two, a diaphragm joint would be great in there, and they'd be able to even make the sculpt look even better. So that's really unfortunate. The belt is floaty, but he has the waist twist in there, so why they used this antiquated articulation on a brand new body? Because it's Hasbro, and I don't know. I think a lot of the times when they do things really well, it's lucky. It sure seems to be. I only say that, and people are going to say you're not fair. It's fair because they do things like this. They do something really nice, but then still don't do it. It's a new joint anyway, unless this is the old one and they had to try to make that work, then I get it, but that still sucks. Spend a few more dollars. Splits are fine. Kicks are fine. We've seen this before. Thigh swivel is fine. Double jointed knee is fine. Boot swivel is fine. Ankle joint goes all the way back, all the way forward, ankle rocker. It's all fine. So his articulation is going to get... it still probably only deserves a 7. A lot of things don't work. I like this setup a lot, but a lot of things don't work. So I'm going to give him a 7. His abdomen is terrible. You can't do better than 90 for his elbows, really. So that's a bummer. Alright, so let's do a final verdict on this, and I'll address something I just said a minute ago, is like, spend more money. That's not faulting the team designing the figures, it's the people telling them how much to spend. A lot of people like to say, well, it's budgets and stuff. Yes. It still doesn't matter. It's still what we're paying for and what we're getting. Hasbro chooses to maximize profits per figure rather than overall. And maybe it doesn't work out overall. There's no way to say for sure, but you could easily argue that if they made their figures a little bit better with lower profit margin per figure, they'd sell enough to not have to go to Ollie's, and then they'd still have more profits overall. Or maybe not, but there's no way in saying because they haven't tried that. They haven't tried making enough better figures consistently to know if that's going to work. And that's my argument, and we'll never know, because they're not going to do it, because the people in charge of the money say, no, cut the costs, we don't need them to be better. So you can choose which direction you prefer. But I prefer this 2-pack for both of these characters over every previous version. I like them a lot. I think it's probably the most desirable 2-pack out of the bunch, because you get a good Venom and a good Cap. With Wolverine, you got a good Wolverine and a lousy Silver Turd Samurai. This one wins. And Omega Red and War Machine don't carry enough weight like these two do either. So this one wins. Thanos, Psylocke, same thing. Best 2-pack so far, easily. I'm going to give it an overall rating of, for Marvel Legends, if the accessories were better, if the articulation was better, I would go 9. But I'm only going to go 8.5 as a 2-pack, because we still have enough problems. Venom's paint not being good, there being no shading anywhere, the accessories being relatively limited, things like that. But it's still, for Marvel Legends, a very nice pickup, and I highly recommend it, for sure. For sure. And even if you only want Cap, you'll be able to sell Venom. And even if you only want Venom, you'll be able to sell Cap. This is a very nice 2-pack with desirable figures in it. Not a turd like the Wolverine one. I have to emphasize that. Don't like 2-packs with turds. There's no turds here. So that's it for me, though. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I will talk to you there, but I'll be done talking now. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.